Dear colleagues, this is Korkut Yavuz from HALAL VISION. In the previous video, titled An Overview of OIC SMIIC Halal Standards Part 1, I spoke about the first 3 standards developed by the Standards and Metrology Institute of Islamic countries, namely OIC SMIIC 1, OIC SMIIC 2, and OIC SMIIC 3. In this video, I'll shortly introduce other SMIIC standards. Note that as HALAL VISION, we provide in-depth courses on all OIC SMIIC standards. You can access our course schedule from the links provided below and on the screen. Or, alternatively, you can just send an email to info@halalvision.org. So, let's begin with OIC SMIIC 4. OIC SMIIC 4 lays down the general requirements of halal cosmetics. It was published in 2018. The rising health concerns on the harmful effects of ingredients used to produce cosmetic products, coupled with the growing Muslim population, has resulted in an increasing demand for halal cosmetic products. This standard was produced to address the requirements for the production of halal cosmetic products in order to meet the challenges stemming from the growing demand for halal cosmetic products. This standard is quite compact. It's 8 pages in total and lays down rules on raw materials and ingredients for cosmetic products, safety rules, requirements related to production, transportation and distribution, traceability, monitoring actions, organization, qualification and responsibilities, and labeling and packaging. As is the case with all OIC SMIIC standards, OIC SMIIC 4 is also based on international best practices and particularly on ISO 22716, which is the recognized international guideline on good manufacturing practices for cosmetics. Let's continue with OIC SMIIC 6, which carries the title Particular Requirements for the Application of OIC SMIIC 1 to Places where Halal Food and Beverages are Prepared, Stored, and Served. This standard was published in August 2019. As you can understand from the title, OIC SMIIC 6 is an add-on to the OIC SMIIC 1 standard, which lays down the general requirements for halal food. This standard covers particular requirements for halal servicing restaurants, including restaurants and open buffets served at hotels, canteens, cafeterias and buffets, self-service places, fast food sections of supermarkets, catering services delivered during land, air, and sea travels, bakery ovens, and pastries. It lays down requirements for raw materials used in such places, methods of preparation, storage, and serving of meals. It also includes the rules on employees who are employed in these processes and the tools, utensils, and facilities to be used. The OIC SMIIC 6 standard draws a lot from the ISO 22000 standard on food safety management systems. SMIIC has also produced a standard for halal tourism, the OIC SMIIC 9, which is titled Halal Tourism Services General Requirements. The standard was published in 2019 and provides guidelines and requirements for managing halal tourism facilities, products and services for travelers in accommodation premises, tour packages, tourist guides, and other tourist services, including spas and hammams. Next, I want to speak about the OIC SMIIC standards on halal supply chain management system. I'm saying standards because this is actually a group of complementary standards published in March 2020. The OIC SMIIC 17-1 standard covers transportation and specifies supply chain management system requirements for the assurance of the halal integrity of products, goods, and cargo being handled through various modes of transportation. OIC SMIIC 17-2 does the same, but for warehouses and warehousing. OIC SMIIC 17-3 covers the retailing stage. While each of these standards covers a different stage of the halal supply chain, there are many commonalities. For example, all 3 standards include requirements related to Islamic rules, management responsibility, halal risk management plan and processes, chain of custody, records to be maintained, control of non-conformity, corrective actions, traceability, and so forth. Now, I want to mention another halal-rated management system standard, the OIC SMIIC 18 on halal quality management systems. The OIC SMIIC 18 standard is one of the most detailed and also one of the most recent standards published by SMIIC in March 2021. The standard aims at ensuring organizations' compliance with Islamic rules and quality management principles. It includes rules and principles gathered under 10 main chapters, such as context of the organization, leadership, planning, performance evaluation, and improvement. By using this standard, organizations will be able to increase their capacity to meet the requirements of all relevant parties and to consistently produce products and services according to Islamic rules and all other applicable legislation. Implement efficient rules of management in terms of halal and haram principles, and enable the company to establish and implement halal critical control points throughout their production line, and improve their performance in terms of halal quality management. Now let's speak a bit about gelatin. What I mean is the OIC SMIIC 22 standard, which is titled Halal Edible Gelatin, Requirements and Test Methods. Gelatin is a widely used food ingredient, commonly derived from collagens taken from animal body parts. It can be derived from various animals, including pigs. So, being able to identify whether a gelatin product comes from a non-halal animal is critical. This is why SMIIC developed the standard, which prescribes the requirements and test methods for halal edible gelatin. The standard also discusses the gelatin processing chain and sets out the halal and necessary hygienic conditions for producing gelatin that is halal, safe, suitable, and admissible for human consumption based on Islamic rules. The next standard is the OIC SMIIC 24 standard, which provides the general requirements for food additives and other added chemicals to halal food. Similar to OIC SMIIC 6, the OIC SMIIC 24 should also be considered as a complementary standard to OIC SMIIC 1, General Requirements for Halal Food. OIC SMIIC 24 was published in March 2020. It sets the requirements and conditions needed for food additives and other added chemicals, such as processing aids, flavorings, added nutrients, and enzymes used during food production to ensure that the final product is halal and safe to consume. The standard also defines the halal status of food additives and foodstuffs intended for human consumption and provides a list of doubtful and non-halal food additives. Last but not least, this standard is based on the CXS 192 General Standard for Food Additives and CXG 36 Class Names and International Numbering System for Food Additives. OIC SMIIC 33, published in February 2020, was developed to provide an example of a certification scheme for halal products. While OIC SMIIC 6 and the OIC SMIIC 24 standards are complementary to the OIC SMIIC 1 standard, the OIC SMIIC 33 standard should be understood as a complementary to the OIC SMIIC 2 standard on halal conformity assessment bodies. There are many different ways in which halal product certification is operated in practice. The OIC SMIIC 33 standard aims to serve as a foundation for facilitating the recognition and acceptance of halal certification in the interests of international trade. As such, the standard describes the fundamentals of halal product certification and provides guidelines for understanding, developing, operating, or maintaining certification schemes for halal products, processes, and services. It's based on several ISO IEC standards on conformity assessment. These are ISO IEC 17000 on the vocabulary and general principles, ISO IEC 17026, which provides an example of a certification scheme for tangible products, ISO IEC 17065, which lays down the requirements for bodies certifying products, processes, and services, and ISO IEC 17067 on the fundamentals of product certification and guidelines for product certification schemes. The next standard I wish to speak about is OIC SMIIC 34 on general requirements for bodies operating certification of persons involved in halal-related activities. This standard was published in February 2020 and is quite similar to the ISO IEC 17024 standard on general requirements for bodies operating certification of persons. The OIC SMIIC 34 standard makes so many references to ISO 17024 to such extent that when you're examining this standard on the one hand, we advise you to have the ISO IEC 17024 standard in your other hand. The international normative documents this standard refers to are the ISO IEC 17024, obviously, and the ISO IEC 17000, which lays down the vocabulary and general principles for conformity assessment. And now OIC SMIIC 35. This standard carries the title General Requirements for the Competence of Laboratories Performing Halal Testing. From what I've been telling you about OIC SMIIC standards and how they are based on established international best practices, I'm certain that some of you may have guessed which international standard the OIC SMIIC 35 is based on. It's ISO IEC 17025, which lays down the general requirements for the competence of testing and calibration laboratories. Similar to the relationship between the OIC SMIIC 34 standard and ISO 17024, the OIC SMIIC 35 standard should be studied together with ISO IEC 17025 because the majority of the items under OIC SMIIC 35 are direct references to the ISO IEC 17025 standard. The last OIC SMIIC standard I want to speak about is the OIC SMIIC 36. This one carries the title General Requirements of Proficiency Testing for Halal Purposes. I'll give you a few seconds to guess which international normative document this standard is based on. Some of you probably guessed that it's ISO IEC 17043, which lays down the general requirements for proficiency testing. Similar to the OIC SMIIC 34 and OIC SMIIC 35, this standard makes so many references to ISO IEC 17043 that you would really need to have a copy of that ISO IEC standard as well. So, this sums up the collection of halal standards produced by the OIC SMIIC as of October 2021. But we do know that SMIIC's technical committees with representatives over 40 OIC member states are right now busy working on other halal-related standards. One last word, as Halal Vision, we provide in-depth courses on all these standards. So if you're interested in learning more and participating in these courses, please go to the link you see on the screen or reach out to us through info@halalvision.org. Thank you for watching this video.